All right, welcome back to the shop. So in this video, I'm gonna reseal one of the valve covers on this Mighty Mite. This is an M422a1 Mighty Mite. I've done a few things without you guys. I just put some new tires on it. I did the valve cover on the passenger side, and it all kind of started because I was having some trouble starting it even after I put the new carburetor on. And it had, so somebody had adapted the old distributor cap, the waterproof one, and they put just, you know, these regular wires on, and it had these spark plugs. I don't know if these are correct for this thing or not when you do something like that. E3.10, real short, real kind of a weird looking electrode on there, or a bridge on there. And so I wanted to take those off and put the regular waterproof wires on, you know, the cap that's intact, and also the right spark plugs. So I've got these plugs in here. I took all these from my blue Mighty Mite that's outside there. I just borrowed them from that. Looked in here, and someone had just put a new rotor in it, and it looks like new points and a new condenser. So the guys I bought it from must have had some issues starting it, and it kind of started working that way. But I'm gonna put it back, you know, put the waterproof stuff on, put the right plugs in it, and see if that helps. And so since I pulled the plugs out and they were soaked in oil, because these valve covers are leaking like a sieve, and someone put red silicone in there. When I pulled the passenger side one apart, the gasket was just terrible. It was just, it would have been better off without the gasket. Just put the silicone, you know. But I bought the gasket kit for this, so I've already done this side. I took it off, cleaned it all up, resealed it, and so now I'm going to do this side. It's not real hard, but I just want to keep doing videos on this just to kind of keep you guys, you know, going along with the journey on this thing. I did add this tube to it. It's aircraft, it's like heater duct tubing or vent duct tubing, and I got a real good deal on this on eBay. I was looking at it to buy it new, and like from Aircraft Spruce and Specialty, it would have been like 150 bucks, 200 bucks for a 8-foot stick of this, and I found some on eBay for real cheap. I gotta trim that off, but I've got enough to do probably 6 or 7 of these, and I may even actually replace the water fording one with it too. I think it looks pretty cool with that color. But anyways, let's get to it. We'll pull this valve cover off, we'll clean it up, and we'll reseal it. All right, so the bolts in the valve cover are 1/2 inch. I gotta cut some more of these zip ties and stuff off. This thing was kind of just, all this stuff was just zip tied all weird in here. I'm gonna clean all that up once I get done with this valve cover. This is a vacuum tube that somebody put on for the windshield wipers. It looks like some kind of surgical tubing or something. I'm going to replace that in the future here. But they didn't even have it hooked to here. This is actually a vacuum line. It was just wide open, and they had the vacuum going to the old carburetor. And also on the other valve cover, this top center bolt on the valve cover, this is a vacuum port. It goes through the bolt. It's a hollow bolt, and that's how you get vacuum here for the windshield wipers. I don't know where it goes to on the other side where it's supposed to go, but it's got a fitting on there, but it was just open to the air, so it was just sucking air, so I was losing, you know, having vacuum, just, I had a vacuum leak, a bad vacuum leak. So anyways, I'm just working through this thing. One day I'm going to get all this junk fixed up. Yeah, that's not good. It's never good to have rust with an aluminum engine, huh? That bolt gets so rusty. Get all those ones out. And then this one that's in the center, it's a vacuum line. We'll have to get that by hand. Of course, we're gonna have to get the, that's pretty cool how that works. See, I don't know if the camera's picking that up. The throttle linkage lever. There's a plug in here for this vacuum line. These covers can be used in any direction, and you just plug off the one you're not using for the vacuum, you know, for the, or not the vacuum, but the positive crankcase ventilation. This one, it's got a plug in there, and the bracket just slides right over that plug, and you put the bolt in. It's pretty cool. I like things that take advantage of simplicity, you know, they take advantage of something that's already there. It's a battery cable. Yeah, this thing's a mess. I'm gonna, one day I need to just sit in here and just go through all this wiring. Look at this. It's just taped on. Jeez. All right, well, let's get that. I think I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna have to pull this fitting out. Fortunately, came out easy. Got a couple of them that were not easy. I had to, on the other side, I had to spray some lubricant on there and really work them to break them free. And we'll clean that up that rust up when we clean the cover. And then these brackets here, they're for the heat riser tubes, which I don't have on this one. You can see it's capped off right here in the manifold or on the exhaust pipe. All right, get the bracket off. All right, now we just got to try to pop the silicone. There we go. Look at all that beautiful silicone. Jeez. Actually, years ago when I first started working on heavy equipment, I was working for this company in Chino called Tri-County, and they had an old D9, I guess it was a D9 or D8H, a Cat D8H, and mechanic was working on it, and he was one of those silicone guys. He just loved silicone on everything, and he pumped a bunch of silicone into something that he was trying to reseal. And they have spray tubes in the bottom of the cylinders that spray oil at the piston to lubricate and cool it. And a big old chunk of that silicone got stuck in that tube, and so it seized the piston. So this poor guy, he spent 2 or 3 days pulling that head off, pulling the pan off, you know, getting everything out of there. Changed the piston liner. I think they had him rebuild the thing while he was in there. You know, he changed all 6. Puts it together, and it runs about 10 minutes, and that piston seized up again. So he pulled it back apart, and then the mechanic that was training me at the time, he walked up and said, "Hey, did you check the spray tubes?" And he pulled a spray tube off, and it was just full of silicone because they put a ton of silicone on it, and it squirted out like this inside here, you know, where you just get these big old like worm-sized pieces of silicone, and it jacked that company bad. That cost them so much money. So I hate silicone. I mean, I use it in places, but where it's appropriate, and I use the appropriate amount too. So anyways, we're going to get this gasket out of here. We're going to clean all this up, and then we're just going to seal it without silicone. Let's see if we can break this loose. So it's holding it on the other side of the gasket. More silicone. Yeah, the gasket on this side actually looks better than the one on the other side did. That one on the other side was just missing a piece. Like part of it wasn't even there. And it was just totally ragged. I'm gonna need to get a sharper gasket scraper here, I think. I hate it when you gotta make a mess inside of the engine here, you know, with all this gasket's not gonna come off in like one nice piece. So the smarter thing to do, and I'll show you when I put the new gasket in, but you glue the new gasket to the valve cover, and then that way when you've got to change the gasket one day, you don't have this big mess. You clean it off the head here, you're just cleaning it off of the valve cover out on the bench. And it makes it a lot easier and a lot cleaner in the engine. Look at this stuff. You should have to have a license to buy silicone. Some guys should not be allowed to use that crap. There we go. Get that big piece. God, there's one part here that just won't come loose. Something else. Get this little steak knife. There we go. try a rag, see what the rag will get off, and whatever it won't, then we'll found this little steak knife out here in the shop the other day. I don't know where it's from, but it's working really good for scraping gaskets. So then you got to make sure you get it out of all the holes, because they put so much in there. Then when they stick the bolt in there, they fill a hole halfway up with silicone. And then now's a good time to reach into these little galleys here, because there's a couple spots here on these heads that don't drain. It's like a low point. It'll collect stuff. There's a piece of silicone or something, or gasket material. That's not bad. It's just mainly checking it to see if there was any steel or any small little parts that might have come off of something. Alright, now I'll go clean the cover and then I'll come back and put it on. We'll put the gasket on and put it on. Alright, I just spent about 10 minutes scraping all the silicone off here. This little steak knife I found out here worked really good. I just scraped it off real good, and the silicone that was in these holes, I was just able to stick it in here, just twist it around and cleaned it all out. So the outside's a little dirty still, but I did clean it as much as I could, but I got most of that off. So you know what? Still a little bit. And I sprayed it down really good with some starting fluid just to get all the oil and any of the residual stuff off there. Make sure I get around these holes here on the inside part too. Alright, that's good enough there. Here's what I'm going to glue the gasket on with. The spray adhesive. Pretty much any spray adhesive, like a spray glue or whatever, is what I like to use on these gaskets. Here's the gasket kit here. Let's see if I can find the other gasket in here. There it is. A little tweaked, but it's fine. It's not torn. So, you use this kind of glue. The best way to do it, if you put, let me get over here. So if we put a coat of glue on here and a coat of glue on the gasket and then stick the gasket on there, it's on there. It isn't going to come off. It is stuck on there. You'll have to scrape really good one day to get that off of there. And then the other side, I'm just going to leave dry on this engine. But sometimes, depending on what it is, I'll put a coat on the gasket, but not on the other mating surface. And then that way it still seals pretty good, but it won't stick to it real bad. You'll be able to lift it off without it tearing the gasket or being locked on there. But right now, if I put a coat on this and the gasket, it's going to make the gasket, it's going to be married to this valve cover, which is really good, because then next time you got to pull the valve cover off, the gasket's just going to come with it. So this gasket goes on a particular way, goes like that. So let's just lay it over, just a thin coat on it, and let me set that in the glue. And then you got to be careful when you put it on there, because once you stick it on there, it's where it's going to be. Like, it's very unforgiving as far as being able to lift it back off or slide it around. So you just want to kind of work it around, line up your holes. And just push it into place. And I'm going to just put it like that. I'm going to leave it dry on the engine side, leave this gasket dry. And if it does leak on me, then I'm going to pull it. I could pull it back off, clean it up, and then spray some adhesive on this side. But I'm going to try to see how it works without doing that. I'm doing it just this way, and it should work good. I have really good luck doing it this way. All right, so let's get back over here. All right, let's get this cover back on. So go like that. that bolt in. Get this on there. Look and see, some of these bolts are shorter. Some are longer if they go into a bracket or something like that. This one here is longer. This one that was rusted. I'm gonna clean that off real quick on the wire wheel on the grinder. All right, this is the one that was all rusted. I just cleaned it off on the grinder just to get all that rust crap out of there. Let's get this on here. Oh, it's gonna go like that. And this is the longer one, that one that's rusted. So it was actually in the wrong hole, because it's gonna be holding down 2 brackets. Somebody wasn't paying attention and they put one of the shorter bolts into these 2 brackets. The other side had a couple of them that were longer going in the brackets. The rest of these are all the same length. So somewhere along the line the bolts got mixed up. Because this one should have been a little longer too because of the bracket. This one goes in by hand. You don't want to tighten these bolts too tight. I should have, especially with this impact I was using, it's kind of hard. I don't know if you noticed when I was doing the trigger, it's really hard to get that one to just kind of, just give you one little quick hammer. But I'd suggest if you do it and you're not used to an impact or used to using an impact or something like that, run them in and then snug them by hand, just to make sure you don't break one off in there or strip it out or something. Well, I gotta figure out what to do with this extra vacuum hose. Stuff it in there for right now. I'm gonna tie all this junk down. So anyways, that's done. That's the valve cover. Next thing, I just gotta put the cover on, or the distributor cap back on, and then I've already got my plugs in, and I just gotta put the wires on. I'm not gonna bother showing that because I'm probably gonna be doing more work to that in the future. I just want to get that done to see if it's gonna run better. And then once I was in there touching seeing how oily the spark plugs were, it was driving me nuts. So I figured I'm gonna reseal these valve covers real quick and just be done with it. I still gotta put this tube on too. So anyways, that's a simple job. Didn't take long at all. I mean, this thing was real easy to work on with that kind of stuff. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share with a friend. And just thank you guys for watching.